Hey, this is Anthony with RevZilla TV, where you can watch, decide, and ride. In this video, we're going to our detailed breakdown, our deep dive of the brand new Arai XD-4 helmet, available in the spring of 2012. Now, if you look in front of me, I have two helmets. One is the Arai XD-4 that I have here on my right in silver. The other is an XD-3, and really I'm going to start this video showing kind of a brief glance and a comparison between the two, and then we're going to get rid of the XD-3 and we're going to talk specifics here on the XD-4. So at a glance, you're going to notice one of the things that's slightly different. I'm going to start with differences. Is that you're looking at a slightly different shell shape. It's a bit more refined, has a slightly less pronounced hyper-ridge. It's just refined as they've gone forward into the Snell 2010 standard era. They've made some refinements for it's a more aerodynamic and it's a more balanced shell. And it's really about the center of gravity here, and it's a nice upgrade, even though you're going to look at it at a glance and think it's just cosmetic. The other thing you're going to notice, if we come in tightly here, right on the shields, you're going to notice that we have brow vents now on the shield here on the XD-4. These brow vents, they vent right to channels, and those channels are going to shoot air directly to the forehead. This is something that we don't see here on the XD-3. And I want to make a big note here that the XD-4 shields are not compatible with the XD-3 because there's no channels. What could happen is you get any kind of debris or dust, and you could have that come right in through the brow vent if you're using it on an XD-3 and it end up in your face. That's not what you want to have happen. The other thing that's very easy to see at a quick comparison is the chin vent. They've updated two things about the chin vent moving here into 2012. First off, we now have a bit more ventilation here at the top. You can notice that we have two extra vents. The other thing is the tab that you're going to use to work the chin vent is a little bit larger. It's more easy to use with gloves. Moving to the top of the helmet. Come in here tightly. You can see the top chimney scoops here. The clicker that you'd use to open and close on these chimney scoops is now a little bit larger, so it's a little bit easier to feel and operate with gloves on. Notice it was a little bit smaller here on the XD-3, even though this is an XD-3 2000 Snell 2010 version. And the last major component that's cosmetic or that you can easily see from the outside is going to be the diffusers. You're still having these huge diffusers here in the back that are going to be covering up a 10mm vent hole, but the nice part now is you're now creating a ton more what I would call back pressure or vacuum that you're going to have with these two scoops here that are cut in. You're going to see the aerodynamic nature. The shape of the diffuser has changed. We saw this with the Vector, or the Vector 2 rather. We've seen some of these diffusers now from Arai having built-in aerodynamic scoops that are going to flow more air over the top of the hole, and with that air flowing at high speed over the top of the hole, what it does is it creates more of a vacuum that's going to pull that hot, moist air that's in and around your head inside this helmet out. So you have air that enters through the inside and the front of the helmet, and then you have that air being even further sucked out the back. It's going to pull the hot, moist, sweaty air, keeping you cool out through the helmet. And it's amazing. Two small holes and a slightly change in the shape, how much that's going to work. It's going to work really, really well. If we look at it now, moving on, we have some diffusers. We have a lot of the same features. I'm actually going to take this XD-3, I'm going to push it over here on the side of the table, and I'm going to walk through two more key differences here in the XD-4. And as I'm doing this, you know, if you're new to the Arai XD family of helmets, one of the key things here is that this is a dual sport helmet. It's meant to look like a dirt bike helmet, function on-road, function off-road. It uses a lot of the high-end features that we see so often from Arai. You know, before we get to the guts, let's walk through the outside here. Let's walk through a lot of the nuts and bolts basics. So it's a Snell 2010 helmet. It's a DOT-rated helmet. The peak hasn't changed going to the XD-4. It's that same peak. You have three configurations you can run with this helmet. You can run it fully configured for on-road, off-road riding. So you have your shield, you have your peak. You can remove the peak and run it with just the shield. You can remove just the shield and run it with the peak, or you could remove everything and completely strip it down. It's a nice touch. You know, we talked about the chin vent here, open and close. We also have these cowls here that will also, it's part of the free flow system. We'll get to that in a sec when we get to the inside of the helmet. They are functional. Moving towards the side of the helmet, you see the winglets for stability, and they also are for additional venturi venting. So air is going to come in, circulate inside the helmet around your head. Now you're going to have additional areas that air can be pulled away from your head, you know, keeping you cool. We talked about the diffusers in the back. The main construction of this shell, it's the Super CLC, so it's the same shell that you're going to see in the RXQ. You're going to see it in the Signet Q. It's their second highest, or their second most exotic shell. You know, Arai really doesn't build different varying points of distinction within the protection side of the helmets. These helmets will handle from the Vector 2 up to the Corsair. They're going to pretty closely adhere to similar safety specs. What happens is, as you get more specific on these helmets, you start to use additional materials. So the Super CLC, it's going to be carbon fiber, fiberglass, some different resins in there that are going to allow you to make a more lightweight shell while still giving you that protective quality. You know, moving up into the Corsair 5, it's a bit more exotic, and the Vector 2 is going to use a little bit less exotic materials, but still give you that great protection rating. Now, we talked about the venting here on top. Venting on the front, obviously when you're riding this, it's very easy to vent through the front as well, even with or without goggles. You have your chimney vents, which all of these vents, if you look at the top here, it creates a bit of a horseshoe pattern, and that's what Arai is famous for. They find it vents really, really well. I wear this. I've had thousands and thousands of miles in my XD3. You know, I'm excited to put a lot of miles on an XD4 this coming spring. You're going to have these vent holes that these chimneys suck in on 10mm vents. These will exhaust 10mm vents or 10mm holes through the EPS directly to your head. It's going to work really well. In previous models, they haven't made a ton of changes from the XD3 in the induction part of that process. Now, looking at our face shield here, you have a full UV resistant locking face shield. One of the things that I would love to see them do, and again, it locks down in there, I'd love to see them come up with the same, or implement, and again, I'm nitpicking here, I'd love to see them do the same cracking ability that they have on their more road-oriented helmets, where you have a different, this will actually slide about 1mm and allow you to crack the helmet versus just lock the helmet. Again, I'm nitpicking a bit here. And the other thing here is I would love to see the evolution of these brow vents vent to the temple like it does on some of the street helmets. Again, though, it's a nice touch to have these eyelid-style brow vents making their first appearance here in an on-road, off-road helmet. Now, as I move into the guts of this guy, let's talk about some of the features that are going to reside within this helmet. And actually, I still have one of my components from the packaging on this bad boy. We're going to have our basic strap here that you see all over the place. Moving into the ridge here, moving into the design, the shape of the Neckroll is slightly different. The shape of the in and out on this helmet are going to be slightly different, again, to accommodate the different, the slightly refined shell here. You're still going to have your adjustable, movable chin curtain or spoiler that's built in. Nice part here, if you can come in really tight, you can see where my finger is that we have this little dot here. That's a slider. And you're going to see it up underneath there. There we go. And what that is that's part of the free flow system. They call it the FFS. So what Arai doesn't do is they don't put an anti-fog coating on any of their shields. They engineer the shields so that you can crack them, or that you have a system like the free flow system that's going to create a vacuum to pull that moist air out of the helmet. These little sliders actually control the air venting that's going to come from these side cowls here. And what that free flow system does is it creates a slight vacuum where you have faster moving air coming through the jawline, through the mouth area, and it's going to pull the warm, moist air away. And instead of that air going up and getting on the shield and fogging your shield, it's going to give you a better ability to keep your shield fog free, but doing it in a physics-based way versus a chemical way with a fogging coating that could eventually wear off over time. You know, if we look at the Neckroll, we look at this helmet, the guts are improved on this around the face shield. It's the FCS system now from Arai. And notice we still have our emergency cheek pull systems. But if I pull one of the cheek pads, this is the new style cheek pad from Arai. It's a newer, more soft and more comfortable coating. But the nice part is that a lot of the upgrade here on the XD4 over the XD3 is the functionality of this cheek pad and how it's built. It's using multiple densities of foam, and what it does is actually creates a more contoured seal around your face and your jawline. It's a bit more quiet. It's going to stand up a little bit longer. Most people, you know, would agree that the newer style Arai helmets, the cheek foam or the cheek pad foam padding is a little bit more durable. It's a little beefier in holding its shape. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start to I'm going to show you all of this is removable. It's all washable. It washes really quick. Now they've also gone to this newer style cheek pad. As you can see, it lots of different multiple densities of foam here. But what they've done is they've scored it so you now have 5mm of foam on this top layer that can be pulled off and stripped off. So it gives you a 5mm range of adjustability as a stock helmet that you can tune this helmet for a perfect fit without having to go up or down a size in cheek pads. So that's just a really nice touch. And if we look at the back, it says it's a 52. I think I have a medium here on the table. And here's my emergency cheek pull that can either be tucked in or left out to hang depending on your riding scenario. And these guys are really easy to pull in and pull out once you figure out how to do it. The Arai stuff is very, you know, it's a very technical helmet, but they're really made some nice moves forward. And again, you see that different densities of foam here as far as the usability factor here. I'm going to pull the other one really quickly as well. So I'm going to pull it back, pull it out. Very, very simple to do. And now let's get into another upgrade. Some of the street helmets, it's a slight twist to get it out. And I'm removing my comfort liner now. And again, it's a high-end comfort liner using a lot of the same technologies that we've seen from the newer Arai style helmets. But the nice part is, just like we saw first in the RXQ, I'm going to open up this side component here, and we have another 5 millimeters of comfort foam that is actually held on with an adhesive that you actually pull off, and it allows you to give yourself a more round fit. The fit on this helmet is going to be an intermediate oval. Even removing these 5 millimeter pads on both sides, it's still going to be an intermediate oval. It'll just give you a slightly more roomy side, a slightly more roomy, rounder shape if you have a head that's a little bit wider than most. And notice the way that this is done, multiple panels. They've tried to keep the 4 snaps that would hold the comfort liner into the helmet. They've tried to keep them away from high pressure areas. So they've moved them to the corners and moved them as low as possible. Down at the bottom, they're actually part of the neck roll. And if I turn this inside out, you're going to see the nice, really soft wicking material that, if you need to pull over, just run it under the water at a gas station. It'll dry in about 10 minutes. It's just a nice feature from Arai. And again, the sizing on your comfort liner is adjustable as well. I think I neglected to mention that they've gone to 5 shell sizes now for the new XD-4. You're starting with an extra small and small, then you have a medium large, and then an extra large gets its own size, and you're going to have 2X all the way up. I believe it goes to 3 or 4X in this helmet. So again, when you're not working within changing the shapes of the internal guts to accommodate different head sizes, when you actually have different shell sizes, there's a great deal more of R&D that goes into building this product to spec at each size, but it's just nice because you're not carrying around any extra room or weight that you don't necessarily need. I'm going to bring it back here. For one more second, I want to show the ventilation. Lots of great ventilation on the inside. You're going to see 6 holes, 10 millimeter holes on the inside here. So I spin towards my light, and you can see that horseshoe shape that runs right along the top of the head. And again, that's going to interface with your interior, or with your chimney vents, and then your diffusers on the back. And I do want to show how simple it is to get to these back vents on this diffuser here. What you do is you have your red piece that you can see here. You turn your red piece slightly to the side, and you pull. Your diffuser comes right off. And then what I have is it's a 2-position diffuser. So you'll notice that 2 exhaust vents here, first one in the front, second one in the back, that are either half open or completely closed. And then to put my diffuser back on, all I do is line it up. And I'm going to snap it in here. There you go. And it's simple as that. A lot of people sometimes can be intimidated by these diffusers, but once you know how they work, they really easily go on and off. So remember, intermediate oval head shape, built for dual sport riding. A lot of the functionality of dirt that can be very easily ridden at high speed on the road. I wear one of these in all of my road touring, especially when I'm on our 12GS. I don't have, don't be mistaken to think that this scoop is going to create a lot of turbulence or buffeting. It's actually, everybody's a little different in the height they sit on their bike, but it's really, really nice in the sense that it's well designed and it's very, very aerodynamic. As always, leave us your feedback on the new XD-4. On Facebook, on YouTube, like it, dislike it. We want to hear what you think about the new iterations as they continue to press forward with this game-changing helmet. Again, it's the top of the food chain when it comes to the dual sport line, even compared to other manufacturers. I will go on the record and say that Arai's just spent more time than everybody else making a more specific, well-fitting, and well-performing helmet. It's what I choose to use myself. So as always, if you have any questions, shoot us a line. See us at RevZilla.com or 877-792-9455. You can also subscribe to us at RevZilla TV on YouTube. We review new gear every week. If you like, you would buy it from us. It's over $39. We'll ship for free. We'll exchange for free. No restock fee if you send it back in brand new, unworn condition. And as always, you can earn TeamZilla cash to be applied to your next order by continuing to shop with us. Thanks so much for watching our Arai XD-4 detailed review at RevZilla.com. Be sure to stay tuned. We're going to do an opinion review later in the season after we put 1,000 or so miles on this bad boy. We're happy to see you here at RevZilla TV. I'm Anthony. We'll see you next time.